It's such a nice day today. Sure, you can hear the hedge trimmers in the background, but so far it isn't that hot. And I live in the American Southwest, and it gets to over 100 degrees at this time of year. So I am sitting outside. I recently finished A Man Called Ove by Frederick Bachman, a book that I had been anticipating for a while now. I had it on hold, and I put it on hold after watching the film adaptation of Remarkably Bright Creatures, which I haven't read yet, so I actually watched the film adaptation first. But I am on hold for that book as well, and I got the impression that A Man Called Ove would be similar to Remarkably Bright Creatures, since the protagonists in both stories are elderly, and they deal with grief, and so I felt like they would be similar kinds of books. And I was right, they are similar. But whereas the protagonist of Remarkably Bright Creatures is actually quite a pleasant woman, she deals with loneliness, she deals with grief, Ove is very unpleasant. And that is what I want to talk about today, because yes, he's presented to us as this grumpy, curmudgeonly man. He's supposed to be 59 years old, but he reads as considerably older. Like, he reads as if he's 79 years old. He's always talking about kids these days, and nobody wants to work anymore, and the government is evil. And, you know, he actually also is extremely fatphobic, overtly so, and also homophobic, though maybe not as homophobic as some other characters. And the story moves back and forth between him in the present and then his past and like how he got to this point. Now, content warning for suicide. I don't think people on BookTube talk about this, but throughout the entire story, Ove attempts suicide in different ways. And while like what leads to those attempts being aborted is somewhat funny, it is a really serious topic. Ove is dealing with grief, and he's not handling it very well. He has these neighbors. She really likes Ove, despite how he treats her and how he treats a cat that shows up at his doorstep. And I mean, he's really cruel to this cat. I had issues with that because there were times when I sympathized with him for sure, especially when it's government people who are interfering and, you know, he's shaking his fist at them. That's punching up. I'm totally fine with that. But there are times, like when he's being very fatphobic, when he's punching down. And that's not acceptable. Just because you have been poorly treated in the past does not allow you to treat others poorly. Like, you don't get to be the bully because you were bullied when you were younger. And I feel like because I didn't connect with Ove at all, the ending just didn't work for me at all. Like, I was just rolling my eyes throughout. So ultimately I gave this book 3 stars, which was disappointing because I went into it with high hopes that it would be great. But I found myself just not sympathizing with the protagonist. And for the story to work, you have to really believe in this character and like see the good in him. And yeah, he does good things, but I feel like that it's also at odds with the ways that he treats people otherwise, the things he tells them. And then he's just very, he has some really strange obsessions. So he's obsessed with his Saab, which is a type of car. And he literally gets into a conflict with another person because he's driving a different car. He's driving a Volvo. And these two men were at one time friends. They had started the neighborhood association. But then they have a falling out over like air conditioning, I think, or heating. I forget what it is. And also over their cars. So it's just wild. Another kind of weird thing about Ove is that on the one hand, he's always talking about bureaucracy and how bad it is. And yet on the other hand, every morning he wakes up, He patrols his neighborhood, even though he's no longer the president. And he has people's cars towed when they're driving where they're not supposed to be driving. And he's constantly interfering in other people's lives and policing their behavior. And I'm thinking, like, you are literally doing the same thing. Why don't you just let people live? So yeah, I do plan on reading other things by Bachman. I think it's just this character did not work for me. The author was trying too hard to try to get us to feel good at the end. And like I said, I didn't really sympathize with him too much, so it didn't work as well. Let me know how you felt about A Man Called Ove, and if there are books that you would think are better by Fredrik Backman. Let me know that in the comments as well. Thank you everybody for watching, and I will talk to you later. Bye now.